I love it. I kind of definitely want to see it. And we know if this does happen, the card is going to be insane because they're not going to put Joe Schmoes on the card. I mean, this is going to be the best of the best in front of the White House. So that could potentially happen, and Jon Jones likes it too.
Aspinall's amazing. He's unbelievable. He's fast for a heavyweight. He's big. He can grapple. Black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's got knockout power. But he's never been in deep water. Ever. That's kind of crazy if you look at his career.
Joe Rogan has issued a strong warning to Jon Jones not to underestimate Tom Aspinall, calling him a dangerous opponent with knockout power, speed, and elite athleticism. Speaking on his podcast and social media, Rogan described Aspinall as an animal and praised his explosive style and clinical striking, noting that his average fight time is just over 2 minutes. Rogan emphasized that Aspinall hasn't just been winning, he's been finishing his opponents decisively, and warned that if the rumored White House fight happens, Jones could be in serious trouble.
He wants to hold a UFC event at the White House next year for America's 250th birthday. But not just any UFC event. He wants to hold a championship UFC event at the White House next year. And this got me thinking, what a perfect time for Jon Jones to come out of retirement and fight Tom Aspinall at the White House next year for America's 250th birthday. What is more patriotic, what is more American than the best
Joe Rogan has stressed that Tom Aspinall is not the kind of fighter you take on after a long layoff or simply to cement a legacy, warning that if Jon Jones approaches the bout without a fully dedicated training camp, he risks a career-defining loss. While Jones is widely regarded as one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time, remaining undefeated for over a decade and holding both the light heavyweight and heavyweight titles, Rogan's comments highlight the serious threat Aspinall poses in today's heavyweight division. The buzz around a potential Jones versus Aspinall clash has intensified even further after U.S. President Donald Trump hinted at hosting a UFC event on the White House lawn to mark America's 250th birthday. UFC President Dana White fueled speculation by reposting a photo of himself with Trump and Joe Rogan from a past White House visit, captioned UFC White House, my boys, on Instagram, with Rogan quickly resharing the post, adding more fuel to the fire that something historic might truly be in the works.
I'll be honest, Tom's a friend. I love Tom. He's one of the coolest dudes in the whole of MMA. Even though Jones is getting old, I just can't pick against Jon Jones. I've been watching Jon Jones, as I say, since
what started as a meme-worthy idea quickly evolved into a serious conversation. As media outlets picked up the story and the MMA world began buzzing about the possibility of a UFC event at one of America's most historically significant locations, White House. If such an event were to take place, it wouldn't be a mere exhibition or small showcase. It would likely feature some of the sport's biggest stars, with none bigger than Jon Jones and Conor McGregor. Jones, who has reportedly shown interest in making a comeback, may see this as the historic opportunity that finally pulls him out of the uncertain limbo he's been stuck in since his 2023 injury and subsequent inactivity.
Is there a fighter in MMA or the UFC that you just find absolutely insufferable? Because for me, it's Jon Jones, and there is no close second. Jon Jones defended his heavyweight title against a retired 42-year-old Stipe Miocic back in November. Ever since then, Jon has been saying, what has Tom Aspinall done to deserve to fight me? Besides Tom being the interim champ and having a defense with that belt, Jon has just found every possible way to not fight Tom, even
Bisping added momentum to the growing speculation during a segment on his YouTube channel, predicting that both Jon Jones and Conor McGregor would be central figures on the potential UFC White House card if it comes to fruition. According to Bisping, the only fight capable of pulling Jones out of his prolonged absence is a high-stakes showdown against Tom Aspinall on the White House lawn. He framed it as a symbolic clash between England and the United States, about rich in national pride and enormous promotional appeal. Bisping stressed that this wouldn't just be another UFC main event, it would be a global sports spectacle, one that transcends the octagon and enters the realm of political.
Fight will never happen. Gun to my head, I would have said Jon Jones will beat him right now. Tom has never been pushed into those championship rounds. That first time you feel that, I gotta get up off that stool. After the third round, you needed to fight Tom now, when he doesn't have that experience, especially as Jon Jones.
Jon Jones, for his part, hasn't ruled out the possibility entirely. While he hasn't officially committed to fighting Tom Aspinall, he has shown interest in competing on the potential White House card, a move consistent with his past remarks about only returning for legacy-defining bouts with significant financial and historical stakes. Aspinall, on the other hand, has been vocal about his desire to face Jones, publicly calling for a unification fight to prove himself as the undisputed heavyweight king, holding the interim title since late 2023. Aspinall's dominant performances have only increased the pressure on Jones to solidify his own
You're
claim
a
to the
sprinter,
throne.
you take PEDs, you become PEDs, you become faster than people who are not taking PEDs, and you win a race. That's okay. You're a cheat, you've won, they'll take your title off you or whatever, that's fine. If your job is to hurt another person, physically hurt another person, which could potentially redirect the rest of their life post-fighting, you're an absolute piece of shit, and you should never be able to fight again if you have any PED
The
status.
buzz surrounding a potential Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall showdown has only intensified over time, with Aspinall consistently calling out Jones after each dominant win, and further establishing himself as one of the most dangerous forces in the heavyweight division. His rare combination of size, speed, and precision striking makes him a stylistic nightmare for most opponents, and many analysts believe his aggressive, high-paced approach could effectively neutralize the slower, methodical, the style that Jones has often relied on. Now 38, Jones is no longer the same fighter who ruled the light heavyweight division in his 20s time off. Injuries and heightened public scrutiny have shifted perceptions of his dominance. Still, his unmatched skill set, elite fight IQ, and adaptability make him a formidable challenge for anyone. If Jones enters a bout with Aspinall fully prepared, it has the potential to be one of the most tactically compelling matchups in UFC
Star
history.
Aspinall would have been if we just would have got that fight over with right away. Think of the Star and Ngannou still would have been for this company. You just would have had that fight and moved it on. And then you have an epic rivalry between those two, Aspinall and Ngannou. Like the years and years of amazing heavyweight fights could have been happening if Jon Jones just wasn't a petulant child, and if the UFC wasn't just the, oh no, it's fine, he's just finding himself. Like, just so annoying.
Beyond the fight itself, the cultural and political dimensions of a potential UFC event at the White House add even greater significance to the anticipated Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall matchup. Donald Trump, a longtime supporter of combat sports, who hosted early UFC events at his venues and maintains a close friendship with Dana White, has returned to political prominence in 2025, reviving conversations about merging sports with state-level spectacle. The UFC seems poised to seize this moment, and staging a bout like Jones versus Aspinall under such a spotlight would dramatically raise the stakes. Everyone involved, fighters, commentators, and promoters, recognizes the magnitude of what's at play, a historic spectacle that could redefine how MMA is viewed on the global stage.
Well, be for two reasons. It's either that Jon Jones is using a strategy to have more money. You can say it. Go for it. What you want to say? I think that's why he's doing it. You know, if he's doing it just to hold the title, to serve the wave, this is not. And if he has no intention of coming back, that's not right. You know. But if he does it for as a strategy to have more money, I can understand why. But I think that the UFC needs to do something to get things moving.
The White House card is still far from officially confirmed, but the momentum behind it is undeniably real. Donald Trump has openly voiced his support, Dana White has publicly embraced the idea, and influential figures like Joe Rogan and Michael Bisping are treating it with serious consideration. Tom Aspinall is actively campaigning for the fight, while Jon Jones remains the pivotal decision maker. Whether Jones ultimately agrees to face Aspinall, especially on such a globally visible stage, will likely come down to a mix of health, financial incentive, and personal legacy. With his storied career, Jones may only be drawn to a matchup that transcends championships and rankings, and a White House fight could be exactly that.
I'll just come out and ask you, do you think he's ducking Tom Aspinall?
No. Jon Jones, I said it a million times, I'll say it again, he's never ducked anybody other than that one goofy time with the Chael Sonnen thing. Never ducked anybody, and I think the reality is, whatever changed his mind with this fight, I don't know, you'd have to ask him that, but he's 38 years old. I don't know.
Do you think if it was someone like Alex Pereira, he would fight them? And it's maybe Tom that he specifically doesn't fancy the man.
McGregor, meanwhile, has also thrown his hat into the ring, with Michael Bisping noting that McGregor is eager to face Michael Chandler at the same event, potentially as the co-main event. McGregor reportedly stated that the White House would be the perfect stage to finally settle the long-delayed score with Chandler, adding more star power to an already explosive potential card. Dana White is still weighing all possibilities, and while the idea of an official White House event that remains uncertain, the UFC is clearly exploring whether it can be sanctioned or adapted to take place at a similarly iconic and historic
retire
location.
Jon Jones without even fighting him. He said that nearly a year ago today. Tom Aspinall said those words. And never have words aged better in the MMA world than Tom Aspinall saying that about Jon Jones.
Sure, Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones haven't stepped into the octagon to face each other yet, but that hasn't stopped their names from dominating headlines and fueling daily fan debates. Even Aspinall's father has acknowledged the growing spectacle, recently speaking candidly about the excitement surrounding rumored grappling alliances. He recognized just how passionate MMA fans can be, especially when something as subtle as a training partnership is seen as a symbol of a larger unfolding.
UFC White House is crazy, dude. Crazy, dude. How's that even a thing? Is that allowed? Like, how is Donald even allowed to do that? He's kind of gangster, though. Chandler versus McGregor. Kind of gangster. Aspinall. Jon Jones wants to fight on it. Classic. Back in the testing pool after 2 weeks. Bro is a troll and a half. He's not having his title back. They just can't be. Over the ground trip would be sick.
He described how amusing it was to watch fans piece together elaborate theories about Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall based solely on who they were seen training with on the mats. According to him, people were quick to suggest that Craig Jones was preparing Tom to dismantle everything Gordon Ryan had ever taught Jon, adding another twist to the narrative. Jon Jones officially announced his retirement just 2 weeks ago, leaving fans without a confirmed fight and the highly anticipated matchup hanging in uncertainty.
Jon Jones retires 2 weeks ago. No fight, no updates, just fades out, and no word on Tom Aspinall. Now out of nowhere, he's back in the USADA testing pool. And why? Because the UFC is holding an event at the White House. Not for the top contender.
This added another layer to an already complex web of rivalries, speculation, and potential matchups. Aspinall's father noted how quickly the internet spins simple training footage into elaborate storylines, fueling narratives that often outpace reality. As he put it, the funny thing is, the guy who teaches Jon Jones is Craig's archenemy. The internet's going to explode when they see this video of Tom and Craig. Thinking Craig is now fixing things Gordon Ryan might be teaching Jon. It's a perfect example of how storylines in combat sports often extend far beyond the cage linking coaches, former rivals, and imagined tactical battles long before any contracts are ever signed.
Or not wanting to fight, you think, or do you think it's a combination?
Well, I can tell you some stuff about the money situation, but I'm not sure I can say it on camera, so I will tell you that after. I think I'm a bad matchup for him, to be honest. And I think he knows it.
My opinion, I think it's a huge risk.
Yeah.
Huge risk. You're younger, you're athletic, you hit hard, you pose problems. We don't have much data on you.
Jon Jones officially stepping away from competition, his retirement has reshaped the UFC heavyweight landscape, placing Tom Aspinall firmly in control as the reigning champion. Jones's exit immediately sparked speculation. Was this the beginning of an undisputed reign for Aspinall, or merely a pause before Jones made a dramatic return? Aspinall didn't waste time pondering. He publicly declared his commitment to leading the division forward and fulfilling the promise of being an active, present champion. Known for his desire to fight frequently, Aspinall has consistently emphasized his intent to keep the division moving, expressing that he has no interest in holding things up. His focus remains on staying active, defending the belt, and raising the standard of competition throughout 2024 and into 2025.
You know, you're not going to take this. And you know what Jon Jones did? You have it. I don't want to fight. You can have it. This is unbelievable. The greatest of all time. What a load of shit. I'm sorry. Never going to call that him the GOAT. Ever again. Because being the greatest of all time is not just about winning. And that's what Jon Jones doesn't understand. It's about how you conduct yourself throughout the whole of your career. Are you willing to fight the biggest challenges, the biggest tests? Go in there and test yourself.
After months of uncertainty surrounding his next move, Tom Aspinall has finally confirmed that his next fight is officially scheduled. While the UFC has yet to make a public announcement, Aspinall revealed on the One-on-One podcast that the bout has been quietly finalized behind the scenes. According to him, key meetings have already taken place, and both the date and opponent have been confirmed, marking a significant step forward in his reign as heavyweight champion.
Hey, what's new with you? Kinda weird, but Trump wants to host a UFC fight in the White House. I have so many questions, but let's start with why. So next year in 2026 is our 250th birthday. Because of that, Trump wants to make a huge celebration and he wants to make it unforgettable. So he was like, how about we hold a UFC fight in the White House? And UFC is okay with that? Well, yeah, Trump is good friends with Dana White, who is the boss of UFC. Back in 2001, Trump helped Dana White and let him use his casino, Trump Taj Mahal, to host a UFC event.
Meetings have been done, and I now have a fight. We've got a date. We've got an opponent to work towards, Tom Aspinall confirmed, offering just enough to spark excitement without revealing the full picture. While he withheld specific details, his statement strongly suggests that a formal UFC announcement is imminent. Among the rumored challengers, Cyril Gane's name has surfaced most frequently, given his high ranking and notable presence in the division. However, nothing has been confirmed until the UFC makes it official. Speculation will continue, but one thing is clear. Aspinall isn't waiting around for Jon Jones. He's moving the heavyweight division forward on his own terms.
I would even say this, and I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I would say that Jon Jones ducked Tom Aspinall so hard that he went through self-destructive measures just to avoid a fight with this man. That's how good Tom Aspinall is, and everyone you're going to list off is going to get beat.
Well, we'll see.
While Tom Aspinall continues to push forward, Joe Rogan has reignited the conversation around a potential Jones versus Aspinall matchup, doubling down on his earlier concerns and offering fresh insight. On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan addressed Jon Jones's claim that a fight with Aspinall wasn't big enough, firmly disagreeing with that assessment. Speaking with UFC bantamweight Corey Sandhagen, Rogan argued that Jones is severely underestimating both the magnitude and the marketability of the bout. I think he's wrong because I think Aspinall is a star. I really do, Rogan said, countering the notion that Aspinall lacks name recognition. When people ask me questions on the street, casuals, hardcore fans, it's always, is Jon Jones going to fight Tom Aspinall? That's the constant question. For Rogan, this isn't just about fan interest, it's about legacy. A Jones vs Aspinall showdown wouldn't just be a money fight, it would be a defining moment in the unification of the heavyweight division and a crucial chapter in Jon Jones's story.
What do you make of Tom Aspinall and all the things that he's been saying about it?
I think he should go on and have a wonderful career.
Do you think that he needs you?
No, I think he needs, when you want something bad enough and if you get it, it could be the worst thing that could ever happen to you. I love being the ultimate troll. He's not in a position to like excite me, because if I whoop his ass, it's going to be the next guy. It's going to be a whole new fan base with somebody who everybody believes in.
The timing of these remarks is significant. While Jon Jones continues to be linked to exhibition-style or legacy fights such as the much-hyped potential UFC event at the White House, Tom Aspinall is busy locking in real title defenses. It's a clear contrast in direction. Jones appears to be chasing iconic one-off moments, while Aspinall remains committed to defending his title and defining his championship reign through consistent competition. This dual narrative only highlights the glaring absence of an actual showdown between the two. Though Aspinall has repeatedly expressed respect for Jones in interviews, he's made it clear that his priority is staying active and elevating the division. So guys, please subscribe to my channel for more updates. Thank you.